This orb might look like it came from a 3D render engine, but it was made entirely in Illustrator. Let me show you how. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Tyler, and today we've got something really fun and creative for you guys. We're going to dive into how to make these beautiful, glowing, vibrant gradient orbs in Adobe Illustrator with a little bit of Photoshop at the end. They're bold, abstract, super versatile, and honestly, they look way more complicated than they actually are. Whether you want to use them in posters, digital art, album covers, UI backgrounds, or just level up your design skills, this is a killer technique to have in your toolkit. I'll walk you through the whole process step by step, from setting up your shapes and blending colors to adding that soft glow effect with a bit of noise, which really sells that sort of ethereal vibe. The stuff we create in this video will be available as a free download in the description, so you can use it in your own projects or just study the layers up close. Also, I'm going to be giving away my latest asset pack, Chroma Spheres, to one lucky subscriber, so stick around to the end to find out more about that. Alright, let's jump in. Okay, so we're in Illustrator. We've got our document here, any size, whatever you want. And we're just going to start by swapping over the black and the white here and setting the stroke to none, and then reselecting the fill so it's above the stroke. And then we're going to get the rectangle tool here, and we're just going to get a rectangle and just fill the background. And then I'm going to lock this layer in the layers panel just so it doesn't interfere while we're creating our orb. Okay, the next step, very simple, just select the ellipse tool and add an ellipse to the page, and we'll just bring that into the middle somewhere. And we're going to go over to the fill, we're going to go to the gradient, and we're going to choose radial gradient. We'll just centralize this using the alignment tool up the top there. Okay, now in the gradient editor here, we're going to add a color in the center here, and I'm going to make that a sort of blue color, I think. Go here, I'm just going to choose like a darkish blue. Yeah, nice, we'll use that. It's kind of between purple and blue actually, but that's fine. So you want the left color to be just white, right to be black, and the middle to be a color of your choice. I tend to choose a dark color for this. Okay, so next we're going to want to click edit gradient, and then we're going to want to press G, and that is going to allow us to choose the angle that this comes from, like so. So yeah, we're going to want to go from the top corner to the bottom corner, like this. And that gives us our sort of first step of it starting to have some lighting to it. Obviously, it's got a long way to go, but that's the first step. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to select our layer, and we're going to click Control-C, Control-F, or Command-C, Command-F, which is going to paste a copy of it directly on top. And then we're going to go back to our fill here. We're going to change this color to something else. I'm going to do a purple color. And we're going to turn the opacity down to 0. And I'm going to change this light color to a sort of lighter, maybe a, let's see, let's line this up, a sort of light pink. Cool. And then we're going to click this button here, which is going to reverse the gradient. So now we've got this light arc going around here, but obviously we don't want this black bit here. So we're going to go to opacity, and we're going to change it to lighten. Okay, then we're going to go back to the fill, and we're going to click on this diamond between these two colors and bring it this way, which is going to kind of make more of an arc, which again just adds to the realism of the orb. Kind of makes it look like the light's coming from more behind it and kind of adds to the 3D-ness of it. Okay, then we're going to duplicate again, Control-C, Control-F, or Command-C, Command-F. And we're going to click on this middle color here and just drag it off, get rid of it. We're going to change the light color to something new, maybe sort of orangey, thinking a kind of bright orange or yellowy sort of color, quite saturated. Yeah, like that. And then we want to change this darker color to a darker version of the light color, or something that it can kind of blend into a bit. So maybe a sort of orange, go with this. And we're going to change the opacity of this one to 0. So it kind of, the orange blends into this yellow, but then eventually fades out. Okay, again, we're going to click on this diamond, and we're going to move this way to kind of create that arc. And then we're going to rotate this around to kind of whatever angle we want, really. I'm going to put that there for now. And obviously you can press G here and customize this kind of how you want. If you want it to kind of come at a different angle for whatever reason, you know, but I think I'm happy with how it is for now. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. Control C, Control F. And we're going to rotate this around again. I'm going to bring this sort of over here. And we're going to play around with the colors here again. I'm going to make this looking like quite a bright magenta sort of pinky color, I think. Maybe slightly muted. Yeah, that's nice. And then we'll change this color again to something that kind of the magenta can fade into. To be honest, probably just do that. It doesn't make a huge difference. You can see that it does make a difference to how it fades in, so you definitely want something darker. I'm going to go for a richer sort of hot pink here. Might move this diamond out a bit as well, so it's not as symmetrical. Yeah, let's do that. Cool. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing again. Control C, Control F, and we're going to rotate this around again. I think I'm going to put this here. Cool, and we're going to play with the color again. Let's get a different color now. Bring this out a bit. We need to change this darker color so it matches. There we go. Blend it into yeah, this blue, that'll do. And we've got a sort of cyan here. You know what, we'll go with this green, actually. I quite like the green fading into the yellow. And then we'll change this darker color again to sort of a darker green. Go with that one. Yeah, cool. Okay, then with this one, we're actually going to change the opacity and go to the blend modes and change it to overlay, which starts to give this sort of neon effect where we had that white arc. So you see under here, that's where we've got that white arc there. And if you use one of these layers and with the overlay blend mode, then it starts to look sort of neon-y. I'm gonna play with this a bit, just get it right. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go in here and I think I'm gonna bring this out slightly more. Okay, now let's bring these ones back in. Yeah, see, I like how this is sort of going from a bright green into a sort of acidy color into a yellow. That blends quite nicely. I think this could be a bit stronger over here. It maybe needs to be a bit richer. That's too rich though. Okay, and then at this point you've kind of got the main techniques down. So what I like to do is sort of experiment. So I'm gonna get that white layer, that original white arc that we added, and I'm gonna Control C, Control F, duplicate it and rotate that around and get another sort of lighter arc that can sit behind the color. Put that there. I think what I might do is try making this overlay and see what it looks like. I like that, but then I do like the lighten as well. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to Control C, Control F. I'm going to duplicate that, and then we're going to make the new one overlay. Yeah, so we keep some color, but we also start to get that neon effect over here. Yeah, I like that. I think I'm going to copy one more of these lighter arcs. Just see what it looks like. Control C, Control F, and bring that around here, up here. Just add a little bit of lightness there. Maybe it's a bit much. Oh, that's all right. We're going to select the yellow layer, and I think I'm going to copy that as well. And maybe bring it slightly further around here. And maybe bring this diamond out. Yeah. Maybe make this slightly different color. Why not? Get a bit of orange in between the yellow and the pink. I think I'm going to make this one overlay as well. Cool. Yeah, that makes it a bit richer. Okay, I'm happy with that. So the key things are, you know, playing around with blending modes and rotating the colors around and layering colors on top of each other until you're kind of happy. And yeah, using these light arcs that we've got here to kind of give that neon effect on certain edges of the orb. And then once you kind of layer the colors on top of it, it starts to look like this. Okay, and the last step is to just select your topmost layer, and we're going to Control C, Control F again, and then we're going to change the fill mode on this one to a point gradient, I believe it's called, freeform gradient, or point gradient, you know, same thing. And now we've got these little points around this top layer, and we can kind of morph it on top. And using blend modes, it starts to look quite interesting. So let's get a sort of, let's get yellow here. That looks nice. You've got some nice colors going on in there. I like to always include dark in the middle because you want that sort of, the center needs to be dark because then it really gives that 3D effect of the light kind of coming from the edges and around the orb. Okay, I think I'm just going to go here and just edit this original ellipse quickly and just, I think, bring this light part down a bit. Yeah, because it was just a bit much. Do like it, but you can see like that. I want more dark in the center of the orb, so I'm going to bring it down a bit like that. That's looking better. Okay, now we're going to go back to our most recent layer. We'll delete that one, we don't need that. Got some dark here. Okay, let's play around with these colors. I think I want to see if I can get some blue in here. Yeah, so I've got a weird sort of cyan fading into the green there. Quite interesting. Bring that out a bit. I'd like to try and keep these far enough apart because, as you can see, the more you start blending colors together, you do start to get this sort of, you know, distortion where there's just loads of colors overlaying each other and there's a lot going on. But we can sort that out later down the line in Photoshop, so don't worry about it if you do get that. So anyway, let's carry on editing this a little bit. Edit gradient. Let's see, what's this here? Let's add a magenta, see what happens there. I think these need to be further out a bit because they're a bit harsh. Let's see, and then kind of at this point, if I start to think it's looking a bit much and, you know, this isn't blending how I want, I start to sort of just go back through previous layers that I added and start hiding stuff. See that? Hiding that layer immediately, I think that's starting to look nicer. It's less harsh. So I think we'll actually get rid of that layer, or at least we'll just hide it for now. Yeah, so we can get a bit of darkness up here now as well. Okay, I'm thinking there's actually too much white around the edges. So one of these needs to go. I'm thinking that one. Yeah, so we'll hide that one as well. I just think there's too much white. We're losing too much color on the edges. And that, yeah, that brings that yellow back in, which I like. That's quite nice. I like the red. But yeah. Ooh, very nice. See, this is my favorite part, really, is you kind of get to the point without this, you know, looks quite cool. And then this is where you start to really experiment and blend colors over the already blended colors that you added. Okay, so I am not liking this little section here. I feel like this going off here looks a bit weird. You're kind of losing the spherical illusion, I guess. So let's see. We get this layer back up, this light bit up here, and then maybe rotate it around to the bottom. Bring that around there like that. Okay, this is annoying me, so let's get rid of that. Oh, see, I love that. You think you've got it, and then you just hide a layer, and suddenly it looks way better. I was just thinking that green is offending me, and I liked it originally, and now I don't like it. So I thought I'll just try hiding it, and now I've got something that I literally love. It's a lovely blend of colors, and I didn't really plan it, which I like. That's kind of the enjoyment I get out of making these, is you just mess about until it works. Obviously you can go in with an idea in your head, but I find with stuff like this, you know, it's abstract, so it's more enjoyable going in without an idea in your head and kind of experiencing it for the first time yourself as well. You know, like when you see a piece of art on the internet or at a gallery and you're like, wow, that's cool, I haven't seen that before, but you're making it yourself in real time and getting that same experience. I like this. I like the way this dark bit here kind of fades here and it's a bit lighter. Okay, I'm just gonna play around just for the sake of it with changing this color. Oh. Okay, I like that, but I did like the orange there, but I do like that bit of green in there. That is very nice, and it's also blending much nicer into the blue here, because obviously it's closer to blue. So it's kind of working well in terms of blending. Okay, now my only concern here is these little light bits here, which I just want to move around a bit and just see what we get. Okay, definitely want that there, I think. Do I not want that there? Maybe I don't. Maybe I want it up there. Okay, and then we've got this arc here, which I want to rotate around a little bit. I think I want that going maybe there. I think I want to press G here because I think it's a little bit thick. I don't like the way it comes to an edge here. I think I'm going to bring it further. Yeah, just slightly more subtle. I think we'll move on to Photoshop now, he says, and then starts experimenting more. Quite like a little bit of blue there. That's quite interesting. Okay, I'm happy with this now. The final experimentation has been completed. Okay, so we're going to move into Photoshop now, and I'm just going to show you how to add a nice little glow and a bit of noise over it to just give it that nice ethereal look. Just thought I'd add this in here, actually, while I remember, is what you can do if you just want to get this orb as a PNG quickly is just right click on it, click for export single asset, go in here, brings it in here, and you can choose PNG, you can choose SVG if you want. I'm going to choose SVG, and then you just click export and choose a location and save it, and it will export it there for you. Okay, so now we're in Photoshop, and we're just going to make a new document. I'm just going to do it 2000 by 2000 pixels, 300 resolution. You can do it whatever size you want, really. So I copied my Illustrator orb, and I'll just paste it in here as a smart object. I'll just make this a bit smaller. So the first step is to just add that glow, and it's a super, super simple effect. We're just going to drag this down, or Control J. No. Control J, please, thank you. And then we'll just select the bottom layer, and we're just going to go Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. We'll set that to maybe 100, let's say. And then we'll just make this opacity maybe 60. Do however you want, but I'm just going to do 60. So that just adds a little glow to it. And the next step is to just add a little bit of noise, grain to the whole thing, which in my opinion just makes gradients look better. Especially if you've got a quite complex gradient with a lot of layers and blending where you get this sort of slight distortion. Adding noise can basically just make that non-existent, which is great. It almost makes the gradient look smoother in a backwards way. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're just going to add a blank layer. I'm going to click Command or Control A. We'll select the marquee tool with M or up here, and we're going to right click Fill, and we're going to do 50% gray. And I'll click OK, and then we'll just click somewhere, and then we're going to go Filter, Camera Raw Filter. And with the grain slider, we're just going to put that all the way up to max. We'll go over here and we'll just change that layer blend mode to overlay. And there you go. Super nice grainy gradient with a little bit of glow on it. If your background is absolute black, the fading out of the glow can look a little bit, you get these kind of chunks where it's only got so many colors to fade to. I don't know the terminology, but I hope that makes sense. But you can see it sort of like there's like these sort of lines. So what you can do with that is just make the background slightly lighter, not that light, but maybe like 050505, and then you've got a lot more to work with. Or sorry, it doesn't have to go as dark, so it's not that the bands aren't as clear. It's still kind of there, kind of works. You can play around with that. That's not a great tip, but it's something. Yeah, if you want more grain here, you can always just Command J, Control J, duplicate the layer. Maybe that's a bit too much, so you could lower the opacity on this second layer a bit. Yeah, that's how you make a nice glowing gradient orb in Illustrator and a little bit of Photoshop. And that's it. You just created your own glowing gradient orb. Super simple, super satisfying, and once you get the hang of it, you can experiment to your heart's content. If you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. Also, don't just stop at making orbs. The real value in this tutorial is in the techniques that we've used. Layering gradients, experimenting with blending modes, and using simple shapes to build complex visuals. These ideas can be applied in so many different ways, so I really encourage you to take what you've learned and push it further. Tweak things, remix steps, and create something new and unique. Also, anything you do create using this tutorial, please do post it on Instagram and tag me at Foxrocket Studio, because I look at all of them and I love seeing what you guys create. And hey, if you're still here, lucky you, because I'm giving away my latest asset pack, Chroma spheres, featuring 25 ready-to-use gradient spheres like the one we created today, packed with individual vectors and PNGs and an Illustrator file of the full collection. Perfect for dropping into your designs, speeding up your workflow, or just getting inspired. To enter, all you have to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below what you thought of the tutorial. Simple as that. If you don't want to leave it to chance, you can grab the full pack over at foxrocketstudio.com. It's available right now and ready for download, so you can get creating straight away. So go check it out. Thanks for watching, keep creating, and I'll see you in the next one.